Excellent, Dino.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, Dino, is we'll kind of get the call started here. Just give me a second. I'm just forward, and we'll get this thing going.
Cool.
All right, guys, we have top coach Dino on the call today. We're going to be talking about his strategic training, nutrition, his prep for the upcoming show, and also the documentary he was doing called The Movement, which actually is been getting a ton of attention lately that they did together, him and two other athletes from Winnipeg, that has been catching on like wildfire. So how you doing today, Dino?
I'm doing well. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. I'm really excited. I love your stuff. I love peak mindset. I love everything natural bodybuilding and health. So I'm really excited to be able to share some of my information to the masses and stuff. So very excited. Thanks.
Looking forward to having you. You actually have an amazing background compared to my white wall, and you got the full scene gym over in Winnipeg.
Yeah. So brand new gym. We're going on just about a year this May. We're trying to get into that health first, lifestyle first approach, really focusing on community, just making everyone better, education, that kind of stuff. So it's turning out well. So no better place for an interview, but in a gym, I guess.
That's awesome, man. And you're also a husband to Kyla, and also do you have one or two girls?
I have a daughter and I have a son as well. So my daughter is 2.5 and my son will be a year in April. So keeping me busy. Yeah.
Between training and family and keeping all your life together, it's going to be keeping you busy, I could imagine, eh?
Oh yeah, for sure. I run a full-time business training people 10 hours a day. I have my family. I'm training for 5 bodybuilding shows. I'm working on a second business, and I'm also in school. So I like to stay busy.
That is definitely not one small schedule right there, Dino. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Dino, now as far as your training is concerned, obviously, you've been training for how many years now?
I picked up my first set of weights when I was 15, so going on 18 years now.
Okay.
And I started actually in martial arts at age 5, I think. I started in judo. Mm-hmm. So I spent 20 plus years in martial arts. I got into mixed martial arts in my 20s, competed at the professional level in mixed martial arts as well. And then when I turned 30, I stepped into bodybuilding. So that's kind of my journey. But I've done almost every martial art, and been lifting weights since I was a kid, which is lots of fun for me. So
you've always been an athlete?
Always been an athlete, and always been kind of a one-man team. It's always been to me about getting better as an individual, self-improvement. When you're the only person on the team, you're the only one person holding you back. So that's kind of, I guess, why I've gradually come to bodybuilding, and I feel like I've done well considering I've only been in it for a couple of years.
So now, Dino, how do you balance all this stuff? Because you got an amazing family, you're training for 5 shows, you're a personal trainer. Now, is personal training your full-time job?
Yeah, I've been doing personal training as a full-time income for almost going on 10 years now. I have 40-ish clients. I see 10 people a day. That's where I make my living. And balancing that with a family, I try to have as close to banker's hours as possible. It hasn't always been easy, but between working out and working and school, everything else to me is my family. So I put a lot of energy in that. My family comes first. I spend as much time with them as possible, and then any extra stuff is kind of just gravy. But it's health first, family, kind of up there with health, and then everything else. So
awesome, man. What's the second business you were talking about that you're starting right now?
So I'm kind of in the planning stages of a supplement industry company, actually, called Body by Science. So we're working on just the early stages of that. So
awesome, man. Good for you. That sounds excellent.
Yeah, thanks.
Good stuff. So now, what about the foundation of you, Dino? Like the foundation that really keeps you strong and stable. What would you say would that be in relevance to what that would be for you?
I think the biggest thing that I stress with clients is balance and realizing that everything you do kind of plays a role. So the gym is important, but it can't be the most important thing. Family's important, but you have to have time for stress management. You have to have time for self-improvement. So school, you have to have time to plan your meals. So it boils down to just, proper planning. And, sometimes the things you enjoy have to come second because you have to look at the future as well. So, just planning and strategy and balance and knowing that your actions are going to have a consequence and trying to, make things work out for yourself. So.
Awesome. Now, what about training for 5 shows? Because 5 shows. Now, when is your first show? When's your last show? So we have an example of your time frame here.
So I started prep in January, so January 1st. So I've already been dieting for, 8, 9 or so weeks. First show's in 13 weeks. The most important show to me, of course, is the INBF, which is June 25th. So that's the show I'm hoping to win. But so that's the one I'm peaking for. But the first one is the MABA Provincials. I qualified last year in a tough class. I came second out of 8, and so I'm dieting, hoping to come in around 170, under 176, and then by INBF I hope to be low 170s, maybe high 160s. So that's the show I'm training for. These are kind of in. There's MABA, then there's IDFA, then we'll see what happens. It's kind of take it show by show, but INBF is kind of the what my eye is set on. I need that INBF pro card.
Awesome. Well, this will be your third show, man. You always come like this close every show.
And I think if people watch our documentary, which we'll talk about in a bit, they'll realize that bodybuilding, it's all about learning, and I've learned a lot about, especially about myself, and that I made a mistake in trying to win and trying to be the best. And I think if you try to be the best, you kind of limit your abilities. You need to try and be your best. So I've really taken the time during the off season to figure out what I need to do to bring my best. Because I think truly, if I bring my best, I'll win. So it's how can I improve on my last 5 physiques, since I've done 5 shows in the last 2 years. So, what are the mistakes I've made? What are the things I can change to bring a better package of myself, instead of just saying, I know what that guy did. I know what he looked like. How do I beat that? So it's really focusing on just bringing my best package. I know I've got 20 years of muscle, so I just need to show it properly, right? So.
Exactly. What defines you, or what is the most important aspect that you believe in your values on why you're a natural bodybuilder?
I think that in terms of natural bodybuilding, I've just never seen the value. I know I possess a knowledge base that a lot of the regular people don't possess in terms of physiology and how the body works, and knowing that crossing that line, I can never not uncross, right? So, going to the enhanced side is something that, once you're kind of there and you've done those things, you have to continue to do that to maintain, the benefit, first of all, right? And the second thing is, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I haven't stopped progressing. So, why cheat myself out of the ability to get better? That's what I truly believe, is that as a natural bodybuilder, you have the ability to progress in a linear, it's slow, but progress is linear. There's no high peaks and big pitfalls. It's, grind it out step by step, and, you'll get better. Maybe you won't put on 20 pounds in an off season, but you'll be able to maintain a muscle mass at a lighter weight, right? Or you'll be able to eat more calories and maintain a lower body mass. It's all about, to me, because I'm such a evidence-based person and a science-based person, it's all about, how can I kind of outsmart my body? How can I just be more efficient? How can I bring something better, without shortcuts? And I truly believe that, becoming enhanced is a shortcut, especially in an age where we've learned so much about nutrition. We've learned so much about training and stress management and sleep, that natural guys are winning untested shows because of the capabilities that we can bring, through proper nutrition and dedication instead of training for 12 weeks and taking cycles, you can diet for 26 weeks and come in with striated glutes, right? So to me, it's that ability to push the human body, like I haven't got to my max potential. I'll be 33 this year. And, I've seen people in natural bodybuilding at 50 and 60 that are progressing. So these kind of things motivate me. I think if you went back 20 years and we didn't eat right and we didn't know how to train, we kind of, guys went in the gym, they kind of lifted weights, but they didn't understand it. Steroids were there to give them that boost that we have now. We have science, we have community, we have nutrition. So it's a topic I'm passionate about, natural bodybuilding, because I think people underestimate their abilities and underestimate what, especially putting the work in over time. Like it flew by, but I've been doing this almost 20 years, right? And that's why I look like what I look like. You can't train for a year and expect to look like me, right? So, it's that patience and grinding it out, and that's what natural bodybuilding is.
When you compete in a non-tested show, what is going on in your mind? Like from the first time that you just did that competition to now, I'm sure your psychology has shifted in those years of competing. So when you go into a non-tested show and you're up against guys who aren't natural, what is your psychology like? What are you thinking at that time?
I never fault anyone for doing that. I think people have their own reasons for doing the things that they do, and I think a lot of them understand the consequences and maybe the health implications. But I learned to worry about myself and worry about my health, and realize that bodybuilding isn't about competing against other people. Again, it's about bringing your best physique. Saying that and doing INBF shows and IDFA shows, and then doing an untested show, it's a totally different culture in that the practices are not as evidence-based. There's a lot of guru. There's a lot of do my secret formula, deplete out, don't drink water for 2 days. Like just a lot of crazy rituals that you can't get away with in natural bodybuilding. You just can't succeed if you're doing these kind of guru-ish things. So I saw a lot of just kind of weird things, and I felt like an outcast a little bit because I'm talking to guys and I'm saying, I'm drinking a gallon of water today. I've, consumed 500 grams of carbs today. And to them, that kind of stuff is taboo. But I stepped on stage and I probably could have taken the show. And I hope I do next time. But it just goes to show that I think that bodybuilding, being a subjective sport and being a sport that's based on weight, I think natural guys, especially natural guys my age, can easily compete at that level and win those shows. Because it is subjective and it is a weight-based sport. So it doesn't matter if you do drugs or if you don't. If you're the same weight, what's the difference, right? So, yeah, it was definitely an eye-opener. But I really want to grow the community, the natural bodybuilding community, and I think the reason for doing these untested shows is to show what is capable, like what you can do, because a lot of people write off natural bodybuilding shows. So if natural bodybuilders can go in and win or place well in untested shows, maybe people will start coming to watch these INBF shows. So
that's a great point, Dino, and I totally agree with you. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're kind of reaching that terror barrier of going into an area that some guys or some gals may take as, kind of a fearful situation, but you've looked at it as an opportunity of growth. And that's a really unique way to look at things.
Yeah.
Love that. So Dino, let's talk a little bit more about when you prep for a contest, you're talking 26 weeks of preparation. That's a long time to prepare for a show. How does that process work for you? Are you prepping yourself in that process? And are you dialing in with higher carbs, lower carbs? What's happening in that process?
So this will be my third season. So I'm new in the sport. I've never had a coach. Again, I'm taking, my understanding of physiology and some input. I think if you want to do well in a sport, you should surround yourself with people. So I do have other competitors that I talk with, and Ty here, he's competed with me. Joel's competed. So we have natural bodybuilders here that support each other. But it's all about coming into the season as lean as possible already. So my first season, I guess I'll explain. I'm 5'9". My first year, so 2014, I started at about 215. So I was a relatively large guy. I've always been bigger, and I cut down to 188 pounds, but then I blew up to 205. So the second season, I still started at about 205, and I came down to about 185-ish. And then what I did is, after this last INBF show, I continued to diet into October. So I dieted for 6 months, then I dieted for another 4 months, and I did the untested show, right? And I came in at 175 pounds. So I lost another 10 or 13 pounds. And over that October to January, that was my off season, I only went back up to 190. So I stayed leaner, right? So I started the season leaner. However, I tried to bring my calories as high as I could. So I got up to, I was down to 1,700 calories, and I was up to 3,400 calories by the time I started again in January. And it's about, I was trying to increase metabolic health, right? You don't want to be starting a season low and then cutting. So I brought my calories up as slow as I could to gain as little weight as I could. And, I started at 3,400. I'm down to, there's days where I do, because I cycle my carbohydrates a little bit. So the weekdays are low. Today I'm low, so I might look a little tired. But, I average about 2,000 calories during the week. And then one of the weekend days I do about a maintenance day. So like 3,400, 3,500 calories, about 7 grams per kilogram for carbs, just to refuel my glycogen stores. And then, I cycle that until I stop losing weight, and then I have to play with it a little more, maybe add more cardio. And I have a unique way in that I don't really track in cardio sessions. What I do is I track my overall activity. So I use a fitness tracker, and in the off season, I average 10,000 steps. So I started prep at 10,000 steps, and then every 6 weeks, I increase it by 5,000.
Oh, interesting.
The point of that is to increase non-exercise calorie expenditure, so that I expend more calories without, nervous system involvement, and basically without having to be on the treadmill all the time. So being in a gym, I just walk around a little bit more, and that's it. So I train with weights 5 or 6 days a week, and then I just keep my activity level up. And then once I get to the 12-week mark, then I throw in my higher intensity cardio, and maybe I'll do that 2 days a week or 3 days a week for 30, 40 minutes. But that's prep, and it's all about, it's all about conditioning. So, and I've learned that, I guess, my first year, I had my best conditioning. My second year, I thought I needed to be bigger because the guy that beat me was bigger, and I was focused on what he did, not what I was doing. So I explained that. So I came in essentially overweight, probably about 10 pounds over what I should have came in. So now I've realized that, and again, I kept my weight low, and I'm hoping to be, 4% body fat, 5% body fat or less for these shows. So, and that's prep.
So you were saying that you actually measure your activity.
Yeah. So I use a fitness tracker like a Fitbit, and I get an idea of what my base activity level is, and then I just manipulate that, right? So like I said, off season, I'd average about 10,000 steps, and I just kind of chose a volume that I could increase that wouldn't kind of affect my lifestyle, right? Because I don't want to be on the treadmill for 2 hours twice a day or something crazy like that. So it's more about getting the steps up, because if you can add 5,000 steps a day, that's a significant amount of expenditure, right? But it's not something that's nervous system taxing. So it's not like going out and pushing cars and stuff like that. So, and which is something I do as I get closer to the show. I'll be out in my driveway doing, car pushes and stuff, doing high intensity stuff, but you can't be doing that for 26 weeks. So I guess my point was, I'm trying to be as efficient and as kind of accepting of my lifestyle, because again, I have a family, I have a job, I'm in school, I'm taking courses, I'm trying to do all these other things, and bodybuilding is not me. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a husband, I'm a father. I enjoy bodybuilding, right? So it's not bodybuilding first. It's not all or nothing bodybuilding. It's not leave me alone, I'm in the gym bodybuilding. It's just part of my life. So, and I found the way I do it is a way that I can manage everything else.
Interesting. So bodybuilding, how many years have you been training for bodybuilding?
This is my third season. So 2014 was my first year, right? So I did IDFA in Brandon, and then I did the INBF show in 2014. I won the first show. I came second the second show. And then last year I did 3 shows. So I did IDFA again. I came second. I did INBF, and I came first. And then I did the MABA show, and I came second. So that's my bodybuilding so far.
So 2016 will be the breakout year for Dino.
Well, that's the hope, right? Like, again, I'm not really focused on winning. I know what I need to do to bring a different package, and I'm hoping that I'm the only person that brings this package, right? Because again, very subjective sport. Maybe they're not looking for conditioning this year. Maybe they're looking for size, but you know, it really depends who shows up, and I just hope that I show up my best. So
looking forward to seeing you on stage, Dino. So now, what about the movement? Okay, this documentary that you guys just got launched here about a month ago, a few weeks ago actually, with you and Teenan and Joel as well. Explain that process and what's been happening with that.
So I guess the movement was Joel and Teenan's kind of their baby. It was something that they felt very strongly about, was getting natural bodybuilding out and exposing it to the masses, especially to non-exercisers and people that really don't understand bodybuilding and maybe don't see the difference between untested and tested bodybuilding. So we started, we approached a filmographer, and he started recording our workouts and recording our food prep and our lifestyle, and it kind of just snowballed. We started January 2014, so we recorded the first year of training and the first 2 competitions. Decided we needed to do a second year to kind of get all the information we wanted in the film, so they recorded the second season, and then it took a few months to kind of edit that and get it to what we wanted. It just so happened that MTS picked it up and actually paid the producer to make this film, make this documentary. So there were some criteria that it had to fit, or it had to meet to be on TV. We didn't actually think it would ever make it to TV. We thought maybe throw it on YouTube, get it out that way. But MTS wanted it, and they had a slightly different vision than we had. We kind of wanted to show, this is the weights we can lift, this is the foods we eat, it's tough, it's a grind. MTS wanted to see what's behind the scenes. So what's your family, like, do you guys have careers? Are you guys just, well off, middle-class guys that succeed or something like that, right? And that's not the case. We have careers, we have families, we have jobs, we are in school, and we're bodybuilders. So it showed a lot of that. It showed a lot of the emotional side, the family support side. And I think that a lot of people who aren't into bodybuilding are really going to enjoy the film. I've heard nothing but positive reviews on it. It's only been out for, I think, a couple weeks, but everyone I've talked to has loved it so far. Have you seen it? Yeah? I haven't seen it.
I have, yes.
Oh, you have seen it?
It's actually it's very, very well done, and you guys definitely did a very unique job on like how everything was laid out, and just the flow of it. It was very well done.
Yeah. No, the producer, he's a very artistic person, so it flows great. It tells 3 stories of 3 very different individuals on 3 very different journeys. Again, myself, it was my first year, and I learned from these guys, and I did well, but I also had some setbacks, and was able to fall back on my support network, my family, and still succeed, and still get something out of it. And, Ty won his pro card and Joel did well as well. So there's something there for everyone, I think.
Well, the beauty of that movie, I really believe, is like you said, it's more of not just a hardcore bodybuilding kind of thing. It's got that mainstream feel to it, and it really can go. I think it can go actually, it can go even go bigger yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Mandeep wanted to have, or you guys spoke about having another movement to come out. You never know.
Yeah, and I think that is a possibility. Like Ty's going to eventually compete as a pro. I'm hoping that one day I'll compete as a pro, and Joel as well. So. I think there's definitely potential to grow on that. I think that if people are into this, they'll want to see maybe a little bit more of what we're doing for food or what we're doing for training. And our families will grow as well, right? So, it's a great platform to showcase the sport. That it's a very family-friendly sport. It's really a lifestyle, right? So it's just part of being healthy. And I think that really separates the two types of bodybuilding, in that natural bodybuilding can make someone better. It can complement their life. It can make them grow. It can realize, how important support is, how important health and food and stress management and planning, how these things just make you better and make all aspects of your life better, right? It's not just about winning a trophy, it's about, getting better, getting stronger, better body image, just feeling better about yourself. So,
yeah, your psychology and mindset around the whole industry, Dino, is like you're 10 or 12 years ahead of your game, man.
Right on. Well, I've been in sport and fitness for a long time, and I've always seen the value in exercise and in health and proper nutrition. So. Again, it has to be a holistic approach. It has to be, it basically has to be all or nothing. You can't just go to the gym a couple of days a week and expect to be healthy. You have to commit 100%. So, and I think that natural bodybuilding allows people to commit 110% just because they have that extrinsic motivation. They have that competition that's coming, and there's a lot of people that go to the gym that could step on stage if they just changed a few things. So I think I think the sport is for anyone, and that's the beauty of it. You don't have to have the genetics. You don't have to have the money to pay for drugs. You don't have to know the right coaches. You just have to have the will to be better as an individual and just put the time in.
Exactly. One thing I've noticed, in having, two shows there in Winnipeg, Dino, and even like obviously the third one for this year, is the Winnipeg natural bodybuilding and fitness market. It's quite big. It's quite, it's actually quite, it's grown a lot for us in the last few years.
Yeah. No, I think it has. And I think it's because we're such an accepting, an accepting group. It's that, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter why you're doing it. It's how can we as a community get bigger, get better, build each other up. Bodybuilding isn't really about, winning. It's about building yourself up, building a community up. Trophies don't really mean anything if everybody hates you, or if you're depressed, or if you end up with medical issues, right? So it's really more about the people around you. And I think that this sport is going to grow a lot in the future. I think this is the future of bodybuilding, is probably natural bodybuilding. I think pharmaceutical bodybuilding is kind of capped out where it can go. I think this is the next step, really.
Totally agree. And the one thing I noticed about you, Dino, like obviously I met you the very first competition, and I've seen you kind of followed you on Facebook over the years, and I've heard this from my team when they were back there for year number 2, is you're quite a calm, cool kind of guy.
Yeah,
very relaxed, I'm
very relaxed, very patient. I work with people all day, every day. It's just who I am, maybe it's all the exercise I do and the good food that I eat, but I've definitely had my struggles, and sport, exercise, health, it's kind of kept me on the regular, so
totally.
Yeah.
Do you do anything to keep yourself really like calm and cool? Like, have you always been that way since even you were younger?
Yeah, I want to say it's all been sport. It's been putting my head into something to make myself better. As long as I can remember, I was always in some kind of sport, trying to get better. I was always the guy winning the most improved trophy. So I always focused on getting myself better. And I think that, you can't really worry about other things or other people. You just have to kind of focus on what you can control. And I think that one of my favorite quotes is, actually it's a Dr. Phil quote, but it's, you create your own experience, in that you can't blame anyone else for anything, right? It doesn't matter what crappy things happen in your life. It doesn't matter if somebody dies, or if you get hurt, or if, something gets canceled, or you lose, or something like that. It really doesn't matter. The experience doesn't matter. What matters is how you react to it, right? So I've always been the kind of person to take the negative things and see how I can turn them into something positive, right? So
yeah, you're definitely an enlightened warrior over there.
Yeah.
Maybe all that martial arts is taught you all the years too, right?
Yeah, and I think sport and exercise and lifting weights and all that kind of stuff, it's really about discipline, and discipline is important. So,
have you read that book, Dino, the one called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior?
No, I'm not really into reading books. I read textbooks more than that, but
Textbooks, okay.
Check it out, eh? Yeah.
Well, the way you're talking, I'm like, man, it's like Dino almost read this book like last night.
No, I don't have time to read books. I'm too busy learning other things.
You're studying.
Yeah, studying. Well, yeah.
So, Dino, what's the lesson you want to pass on to other natural bodybuilders from, before we end our show today? Do you want to pass on to others from what you've experienced over your journey?
Yeah. Okay. Natural bodybuilding. I think it is a journey. I think that you can't really focus on the little things. You can't focus on the trophies. You can't focus on losing. I think that to get better, you have to lose. You never learn anything if you're always winning.
Mm-hmm.
So, take your losses and go through them. So focus on how can I make myself better, and realize that bodybuilding, especially natural bodybuilding, it's not a short-term thing. It's a long-term sport. Joel said it best in the movement. He said it's not weeks and months, it's years and decades. I'm doing well in bodybuilding because I chose to pick up a weight, 18 years ago, and eat enough calories, put on muscle mass over 18 years, and now 18 years later I get to diet down and show people what I built. Right? That's natural bodybuilding. I think people are too concerned with jumping on stage right away. I should be big. I should be ripped. You have to take the time. You have to put the muscle mass on. You have to be dedicated, and you have to know that 20 years will go by in a blink of an eye. So enjoy the process, because the show is one day. I love stepping foot in the gym. I look forward to my workouts every single day. There's not a workout that I hate. You have to enjoy the process. So choose something you enjoy doing. If you don't like lifting heavy weights, find something else to do, right? Like, find something you enjoy that's your passion. That's why I'm doing so well in the industry. I love what I do, right? And I think that you have to love what you're doing if you're going to be truly successful in it. So
that was a great answer. That was phenomenal.
Nice.
So, Dino, do you feel that that your success of whatever you achieve in the gym environment, gym in general, is a translation to what happens in success in your life?
I think it's directly related to it. Every time I walk into the gym, I have a goal. I think a lot of people don't know what they're doing in the gym. They don't have a goal. But when I step in the gym, because of my career, I guess, and because I know what I know, I have a program. I have what I have to do today. I go in, I do it. But I also realize that if I'm sick, if I'm sore, if I'm hurting, it doesn't matter if I miss a workout. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to roll with the punches. You have to, it's not an all or nothing. You have to be able to accept that you know, sometimes you're not going to be able to give it 100%. So, you know, accommodate that, right? So, and that goes the same with life and career. You're not going to get the job you want every time. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you got to give up. It just means you got to change your game plan, right? So, I'm doing well because I've stuck with it, because I love it, and because I'm always planning. And the last thing is I have a support network. You know, you have to have that support. You have to surround yourself with people that are in the industry. You have to surround yourself with positive people. I have my wife, I have my family. Actually, I saw one of your videos where you said, you know, the value of hiring a coach. You know, a lot of people undervalue trainers. And that's what I do for a living is I train people, I help them get better. And, you know, a good trainer is not just showing someone how to lift weights, they're showing them how to manage stress, you know, the value of sleep, the value of proper nutrition, the value of community, you know, the value of setting long-term goals or short-term goals, accepting failure, and just pushing yourself. So, you know, it all comes back to loving what you do, and I love what I do.
Well, that was an awesome explanation, Dino. I love your thorough explanations of your answers.
Right on.
Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so I'm all over social media. I have a Twitter at Top Coach Dino. I'm on Instagram, same thing, at Top Coach Dino. I do a YouTube channel, so I have weekly videos. I got a video log where you can follow me getting ready for my competitions. I also have a series called What the Fitness, where I kind of debunk a lot of fitness myths, answer a lot of questions that I get on a day-to-day basis from my clients. I also have a Facebook page. Dino Camire PT is my Facebook fan page. And I have a website, redriverfitness.com. And like I said, big things are also coming in the future. So you can check out Bodies by Science on Twitter and Bodies by Science Subs on Instagram.
Love it. Anything else you want to add before we end the show, Dino?
No, I'm very excited you had me on the show. Again, I love trying to get information out to the people. You know, helping people learn from my mistakes, and just I want to grow natural bodybuilding. You know, I want big shows. I want lots of people. I want lots of fans. This is a sport that, you know, is just growing. It's the next big thing, and I really hope that it's around, you know, forever. So
it's only growing and getting better, Dino, and I have to agree that the people are leaning more towards health and fitness, and especially the natural side as well. Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, we're seeing that a lot, that you know, it's health first. And I think that in sport, if you focus on health and lifestyle, you're going to have a good athlete. If you focus on, you know, performance and winning, you know, maybe they're not healthy, right? So, and with natural bodybuilding, because there's no outside, you're not getting that extra help. You have to be healthy, you know, to be well, to do well in the sport. You're going to be healthy. You're going to be happy, and you're only going to get better. So,
love it, man. Well, there you guys have it, guys. There's Top Coach Dino from Winnipeg, one of the top INBF Canada athletes coming out of Central Canada. Future WNBF for one of these days, Dino. I'll have to get you up there one of those days, man.
Right on.
So check him out, guys, on Facebook, his website as well. And if you guys want any training with Coach Dino, just head him up on Facebook and message him, and he'll definitely take care of all of your needs.
Perfect. Right on. Thanks a lot.
So signing off, guys, with Matthew Park with INBF Athlete Series. Dino, have an awesome, epic day, guys. And remember, take your mind where it has never been before.